What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. We got an episode today where we're going to the mailbag, where we have some questions about Coby White being compared to Tyler Herro. We also have questions about Bulls potential trade deals. Also got some updates on some things going on, and I also want to talk about AK's chance to win Executive of the Year. We'll be getting to all that and more here on Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls related. I'll see you guys right after this. All right, so no games. How you guys dealing with not having any Chicago Bulls game? I would like to hear from you guys down below on what you're doing to keep yourself busy during this long stretch of no Bulls games. Again, it's all coming back around though. We'll get right back into our normal schedule. Honestly, for me, I would think that, I have this show, so it's kind of easy for me as a content creator to still fill it with Bulls content and research and stuff like that. But it's kind of good. It's good for the players. It's good for me. To not have to do those live streams afterwards, and let me not say have to, but not doing as many live streams because get a chance to rest my voice. But overall, I do miss it. It just feels like such a big part is missing when I don't have Bulls games because it's such a big part of my day to day at this point. But it's just as an interesting thing. Let me know what you guys are doing. How bored are you without Bulls games? Have you been watching other NBA games? Things like that. But let's go ahead. Let's start the show. Let's get into it. First thing that I want to start off with, just because this is something kind of quick. So McClung has been assigned to the Windy City Bulls. If you guys remember, I had said before that I did not think McClung was going to get a lot of minutes on this team, even with everybody down. Then we had that break and everybody came back. But I didn't expect him to. I did think that if they saw some stuff from him in practice, that they may bring him into their G League affiliate, and that seems to be what happened. So what that tells me, and I could be completely overlooking it, no sources or anything like that, is that they probably see something in McClung that they say, hey, let's see what we can develop this guy, what we can get out of him over in the G League for the rest of this season, hopefully, unless another team decides to call him up. And then depending on what moves or anything else that this team does do in the offseason, maybe they'll have a player in McClung. I know that McClung does have a pretty big fan base. I know some people wanted to see him and people ask questions about him, but he's been assigned to the Windy City Bulls. So you guys want to see him, look at him down there. I'm sure he's going to probably light it up in the G League. But let's go ahead. Let's move on from that. So this comes from a subscriber, Kick Punches, and he's left this comment in the live stream for the last couple of live streams. And I said I was going to actually tackle it on a video. I forgot, but now that we have this break, it's a perfect time to do it. So Kick Punches had mentioned that Tyler Herro and Coby White's first couple of seasons compare very well. And this was something that was thrown to me on a live stream, as I said, and I wanted to sit back and I wanted to do some more research on this and really compare these players from a stat perspective and see what we had. So they're both 3-year NBA players at this point. In their rookie seasons, both Tyler Herro he played 55 games, started 8 of those games. Coby White played in 65 games and started in 1 game in his rookie season. And their rookie seasons are very comparative, even if you look at it from a points per game standpoint. Tyler Herro at 13.5 points per game. Coby White at 13.2 points per game. Field goal percentage is very comparable as well, with Coby at 39 percentage field goal wise. Tyler Herro up higher than that at 42.8%, and then the 3-point percentage, Tyler Herro had 38%, whereas Coby White had 35%. Even their PERs were very similar. Now, the one thing that you'll notice with this is that Tyler Herro's usage rate has always been higher than Coby White's. His PER has always been higher as well. Coby had a PER of 11.92 his rookie year, whereas Tyler Herro had a 12.53 player efficiency rating. But again, the usage numbers weren't even close. Tyler Herro's usage number was 21.7, whereas Coby White's usage in his rookie year was 24.5, right? So Coby White actually having the higher usage percentage and lower PER in both their first 2 years, right? PER for Tyler Herro in his second year was 13.42, whereas Coby's was 12.09. Coby's usage rate was 22.9. And Tyler Herro's usage rate was 22.9, exactly the same there. And then it gets interesting is this season. And this is where we're really starting to see the difference. Like I said, that PER number is huge. Tyler Herro's PER was 0.18, whereas Coby's PER so far was has been 11.72, with Coby's usage rate being 19.4 and Tyler Herro's usage rate being 29. 29.1. That's a huge difference in usage rating. And so we know Coby's role has completely changed in this team in his third year, as well as coming back from an injury and eventually starting off slow. Those slow starts really are affecting that PER. But comparing these players was more eye opening than I thought. And again, this is not to say that Coby White is going to develop into the type of player that Tyler Herro is. Raw stats mean one thing, player role and everything dictate a lot as well. So far this season, Coby, he's brought that point per game percentage up to 10.8, and we all know Tyler Herro's killing it at 20.4 points per game this season. But the field goal percentages aren't that different. So far this season, Coby White is shooting at a 42.3 field goal percentage, whereas Tyler Herro is at 43% even. And then 3-point percentage for Tyler Herro is 38.8, whereas Coby White's field goal percentage, 3-point percentage is 35.7, which is very similar to his 3-point percentage last season, which was 35.9. So what we're seeing there, and I understand why this subscriber made that comparison, because yeah, looking at the raw stats, again, they're not one for one. Tyler Herro having especially more usage, way more usage this season so far. We'll still have that goals over the course of the season. But the thing that I want to say in this is that player roles make a big difference. And in the Coby White thing, and the reason why I wanted to do this is that a lot of people have now locked in on Coby White being the key. And like I said in the last video, no matter how good he does, people will say, oh, if he does better, he's up in his trade value. No matter if he does bad, they'll say that, oh, well, he's bad, we need to get him. And then you have people who just don't think we should trade Coby White no matter what. At the end of the day, I think that we're seeing Coby White develop into a more complete player this season. That is on both defense and offense. He's really finding and settling into his role. And we see how important that is. There's really over the last stretch of the last couple of games, Coby White has really been what's kept us in those games by many different things that he does on the court, especially when you're looking at us missing Alex Caruso and things like that. And then that narrative that him and Io can't play together, we have to decide between the two of them, I don't agree with either. And I already tackled the whole contract thing with Coby White next year. But just looking at these two players and looking at that comparison, it was like, okay. And I know I didn't bring in all the stats and defensive wise and things like that. And there's a lot more stats because Tyler Herro's averaged way more rebounds a game than Coby White has in every season just about. But with that being said, it's different role types. But we all know, I think people know, even the people that do want to see Coby traded understand the killer that Coby White can be. And I think that we know that. We understand that. Coby White he's such a enigma in many ways, because if he can stay on and stay consistent, he really changes the dynamic of the Bulls bench completely, especially with injuries out. Now, if we get bag chucking Coby where he's not being effective, for a long part of his career, if he wasn't shooting very well, he wasn't offering anything else. That narrative is starting to change with Coby White. So we'll see how he continues to develop. I promised Kick Punches that I was going to break this down and talk about this because he pointed it out, and something that I had never heard at that point before. But let me know what you guys think. Go and look at the advanced stats. Go and look at the regular stats. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you think. Again, not comparing the players or whatever else, but I think more so what Kick Punch was getting at with this is to basically say, let's wait and see how Coby develops, because you see the player that Tyler Herro developed into. And I think we all know that Coby White can develop into a hell of a scorer, hell of a player overall now, as he continues to show that improved defense that he's been flashing around. So let me know what you guys think about that down below. Next, we're going to go into the mailbag. We got one voicemail from Shay. We're going to get into that right now.
Hey, yo, what's up, Haize? This is Shay. I've been hearing a lot of people say we should get Christian Wood and Jeremy Grant. I'm going to put all that to bed right now with this phone call. Yo, if Jeremy Grant was any good, he would have helped the Denver Nuggets 2 seasons ago get past the Los Angeles Lakers, who, let's be honest, Denver did have more talent than them. I understand the experience of having LeBron and Rondo, but at the end of the day, that Nuggets team was a high-powered offense and a much better defensive team. Another thing, from what I hear from Rockets fans and Rockets personnel, Christian Wood has a habit of being late. And after this little incident, what Christian Wood just had, do you really want that on your team? Especially a team like ours that has such camaraderie, and a guy that usually doesn't know how to handle a high-pressure situation, even when he's losing. What if we have a slump or losing season, and then he does some of the same stuff he does in Houston. So, no, that's the main reason why you should not get those two guys. Another thing, I feel like we don't necessarily need a rebounding power forward. We just need one of those power forwards who can play defense, hit an open three if needed, and that can rebound at a decent rate. Maybe give you about 6 or 7, because let's face it, Vucevic does average high volume rebounds, and then Lonzo Ball is a pretty good rebounder for his position. And DeMar DeRozan is no slouch either. So the way I see it, we don't need a big man that could give you double-digit rebounds, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, talk to you later. Peace.
Okay, so Shay's tackling something that's been taking over Bulls community for a very long time, and that is trade talk. He mentioned specifically Jeremy Grant, Christian Wood. I'm going to throw Miles Turner in there. You guys know I already talked about the comparison between Miles Turner and Vooch. There's not much difference defensively there as far as advanced analytics will tell you. But this is the thing that I want to say with this, and I'm not going to spend a long time on this. Shay talked about this very well. This is the fact that, period, just at the end of the day, for the Bulls to make a trade for players whose contract's that high, they would have to give up a lot. And for Bulls fans to think we can just give up scraps and get these players back, I need everybody to realize this. And this is a conversation that I know people aren't going to agree with. This front office is not trading Patrick Williams. I don't give a damn what any rumors have come out saying that Bulls have made calls about Jeremy. I don't give a fuck about none of that. This front office and the way that they have talked about Patrick Williams, they are not trading Patrick Williams. If they do trade Patrick Williams this season, right, I will eat crow. The same way that Petty Roosevelt flamed Tim Bontemps, Petty Roosevelt will get Haize's ass too. If that happens, I have no problem admitting I was wrong with that. This front office is not trading Patrick Williams, period. You can talk about Coby White. You can talk about all this. First of all, let's attack the point from Jeremy Grant. Again, Bulls fans are too focused on what big names and not looking at team construction. I understand that we live in an NBA where you just throw stars at everything and people think that that's the answer. This team does not need anybody else that you have to call offense for. Now, that doesn't mean that they may not go out and get him in the free agency market or whatever else, depending on how they change the outlook of this team. But that is not what this team needs. Again, Lonzo doesn't even get the shots, the amount of shots that he needs. Do you really think that this team is going to come in and call for another player that you have to call offense for another 10 to 12 shots? No, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Now, you want to get a player that can hit the open shots that this offense naturally already gets players like Javonte Green and stuff like that, who can defend and things like that. Jeremy Grant, you don't have the assets to trade for. Bulls fans, I know that we like to overvalue our assets. Every fan base does that. We don't have the assets to trade for Jeremy Grant. Realistically, yes, if you say, oh, well, we can do Patrick Williams, they're not trading Patrick Williams. The Christian Wood conversation. Again, I like Christian Wood as a player. If he was a free agent, absolutely. But guess what? That contract, and this is another thing that I need Bulls fans to realize and pay attention to, is that bringing in another player that has any type of long-term contract obligations that are a big contract like that, the Bulls are not going to do. We have to already re-sign Zach LaVine, right? Then on the outlook, Ayo only signed a 2-year deal, meaning at the end of next season, for those who are saying that they want Ayo to be on this team for a long time, keep in mind, we got to sign Ayo to an extension very early on. Patrick Williams. And let's say the Bulls don't sign Patrick Williams to an extension. Let's say that he doesn't play well, whatever else. Again, that's not coming anytime soon. I get that people are too focused now on the fact that they think our championship window is only 3 years. And people need to realize is that dumb teams only do that. Like if you're looking at a team that wants to go all in right now and just veteran minimums, this, and this, look at the Lakers for your attention on that. You don't want to do that if you can avoid it. The fact that the Lakers traded away so many young players that right now could contribute in a lot of ways should be evident to people who want this team to contend for a long time. You guys are too focused on this 3-year window. We are re-signing Zach LaVine to probably a 5-year deal. That's your window. It's not just this 3 years. And by that, if you want to extend and be contending long into LaVine's extension here, you do have to develop players, meaning you do have to hope that Ayo develops. You do, ideally, like, again, I'm not saying Coby's untradeable, but I'm saying you have to get a hell of a piece if you're going to do that. And at this point, Coby's still working up his trade value. But if you can get a player like Coby White to develop into a hell of a bench player, you keep that. If you can get Patrick Williams, who can be amazing defensively, and we'll see what we can carve out and how we can build his offense. Again, it doesn't have to be right now. Again, our window can be a lot longer than this 3 years that everybody wants to throw around. But by the short-sightedness that so many Bulls fans have, you're going to shorten that window. Let's keep in mind, it's about development. It's about future. And with Lonzo, who's still very young, Patrick Williams, who's still very young, LaVine, who still has a lot of years left to give, this team's window can extend very well, especially when you have a front office that's as intelligent as this front office has shown. And that gets me into my next topic. Karnisovas is on track, I believe, to be Executive of the Year. And I'm going to go to a quote that Karnisovas gave in the press conference earlier this season. We will not settle for mediocrity here. When you look at the moves that he's made, the way that he brought DeMar here, the way that he brought Lonzo here, constructing those sign and trade deals, even going back last year to the move for Vooch, the move that brought Javonte Green here, in which Javonte Green was kind of just looked at filler, and look at the way he's been able to contribute on this team. Drafting a second-round pick in Ayo Dosunmu, who is now looking, and people are looking, can be a possible double-digit, right? A double-double walking at some point in his career. And then on top of that, we sit at the top of the Eastern Conference right now. AK is absolutely gearing up and preparing, and I think it's going to be the Executive of the Year this year. When you add in all the doubt that was brought his way with these deals, I really want to start talking. I know we talk a lot about postseason awards for players. We talk about DeMar's chances to win MVP. We talk about Caruso's chance to win Sixth Man of the Year. We talk about all-star teams and all-NBA teams. But let's focus on the job that this man has doing, him and Eversley. And the reason why I say this, and I wanted to talk about this right after talking about a trade talk, is that we need to trust this front office. I know for so long that as Bulls fans, we have had a front office that we could not trust. Even that quote of "we will not settle for mediocrity." If that quote was made by Garpax, we would initially call it out, talk shit about it, whatever else. We need to acknowledge the fact that we have a front office that we can actually trust. And by trusting that, let's trust the deals they make. Let's trust the fact that if they see a player that they want to develop, let's trust that it's for a reason. This front office has done almost nothing wrong. And I know people go to the Gafford deal and things like that. This front office is really, at the end of the day, every deal that they have made has now set us right here in the year where we can honestly say we are championship contenders. We are the number one team in the East for now. We have a team that, even our biggest question coming into the season was defense. And I know we've dropped in defense since then, but during the time where we had everyone healthy, we were top 5 defense in the NBA. That is a vision, right? That is a vision with the front office and the coach. Let's trust this front office. I truly believe that AK is going to win Executive of the Year. His biggest competition is probably Kobe Altman out in Cleveland with how good they've been doing, and Bob Myers out in Golden State. But I really do think when you look at the totality of, yes, the Clevelands are a good story. They're playing great, but they're not playing as good as the Bulls. And we had just as much doubt, if anything, in the national media sense and in the basketball world. When you look at how the GMs voted and everything, people have to understand that AK and Eversley have this front office. He definitely deserves Executive of the Year. I don't almost give a damn what else happens in the course of the season. Let's trust our GMs. Let's trust our president of basketball operations. And let's go forward, trusting what they do and what they see in this team. Because guess what? For the first time in a long time, we have a front office that seems to have a plan, and a plan that we can trust. Not a front office that says we want to get younger and more athletic and then go out and do the exact opposite. That statement that AK made of "we will not settle for mediocrity here" has been proven in the way that they run this team every single day since they got here. And that's what I want to end this episode on. I know some people are going to disagree with me. I know I got fired up there a little bit. But as always, make sure you're following the podcast at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, question, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave us a text or voicemail, we can do so at 773-270-2799. I love you guys, man. Like I like to end every video on, I love you. Go Bulls. I'm out. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.